Hi, friends. In our time together today, I want to share something that's kind of growing in my heart and mind that's been fed not only by my own experience and search, but by our great conversations. I love our conversations. And that is, we need more whistle makers and more whistle players. And I just want to talk about that for a couple of minutes and why I feel that way. Um, you see, when I started playing the whistle, it was just a couple of years ago. And when I started playing, I started acquiring whistles. As you know, I have a reasonable amount of whistles. But for every low whistle I have, and I don't have all the available low whistles, my budget doesn't permit me to buy everything at once. I'm still acquiring. And I was researching a couple this morning that I might get. For every low whistle I have a few high whistles because the high whistle is so much more popular and, to be honest, a bit more affordable than a good low whistle. But even a great low whistle, a low D, or another low whistle in that range, are really, as far as professional grade instruments go, they're very inexpensive. The entry point to a professional grade instrument in tin whistles is not that much money. But just in that 2 years, since I started playing, I have whistles that the manufacturer has phased out those low D whistles. I have a whistle that a manufacturer who does excellent mass-produced instruments, entered the low D market and left it. And I'm sad about that. I have instruments here that I know that the individual craftsman, the maker, is probably going to retire soon. On top of that, though, I also know other folks who are developing whistles. And I think that's brilliant. And I know that there are a lot of whistles I don't yet have. And I'm looking to get more. So if you have favorites that you think I don't have, comment in the notes to this video or in the comments to this video, because I'd love to know. Because I'm looking at getting more because I think the market's important. Now, so I said I want more whistle manufacturers. One of the things I've read, and we've talked about some, is that there's a tension between people who are individual artists, craftsmen, who make whistles and mass-produced instruments. I am not a fan of a lousy mass-produced instrument. I have one low whistle that I don't like to play, not because it was mass-produced, but because nobody ran it through excellent quality checks. If you mass-produce an instrument and you can mass-produce it to a high level of quality, so long as you're consistent and so long as all the quality checks are really high level, and you only permit quality instruments to be sold. I think that's brilliant. I love that. You see, we need makers who do that kind of thing and put whistles out in the market, because it's virtually impossible to have an individual craftsman who makes every single whistle by hand. If demand increases, there's no way in the world that individual craftsmen could meet that demand. So we need some mass-produced instruments. And so it's good to have mass-produced instruments. The low whistles, Bernard Overton made the first low D whistle in 1971. So this is a relatively young instrument in the marketplace. And I think, like my saxophone, an inexpensive saxophone you could buy today is probably equal to a phenomenal saxophone that I could have purchased when I purchased my first, well over 50 years ago. Anyway, so there's nothing wrong with mass-produced instruments so long as the quality is there. But we require more craftsmen, craftswomen, craftspeople to really make an impact on the market with creativity, with innovation. I think of some of the whistles. People are coming out with 3D printed heads. We've got people making beautiful carbon fiber instruments. We have people coming out with polymers, hard polymers that replicate wood. We have a lot of innovation in aluminum and Delrin heads, and just so much great stuff coming. It takes individual craftspeople to accomplish that. And those individuals, then their creativity gets filtered down into the mass-produced instruments. And then that makes the entire market better overall. And there are people out there doing these exciting things. There are people that I know who are developing new low whistles. I think that's so much fun. And I also understand that whole supply and demand. The supply's not going to be created unless there's some demand there. And that's why I say that you and I need to become proponents of the low whistle. We need more low whistle players. If you have a friend who plays the whistle, they play a high whistle and they've never played a low whistle, loan them one of yours and say, fall in love with this for a minute. Because the resonance, the beauty, the thoughtfulness of a good low whistle will captivate you. And I love high whistles, but I love a low whistle. And I think that is so important. And the high whistle's in my journey, but the low whistle is my journey. And I think that's very important. I think it's important for us as whistle playing musicians to share our love for the low whistle, our passion for the low whistle with friends, introduce new people to the whistle. And that means that people like me need to get out and play somewhere outside of the study more. And that's one of the reasons behind my creating that new playlist I talked about in that little short yesterday of doing some checks on playing whistles outside. It'd be fun to do that at a local park so people are hearing them. And so we need more whistle makers. We've got individuals who are gonna create they're gonna define and refine what the low whistle is. Then their creativity gets filtered down into the mass-produced product. I don't want sloppy, lousy, mass-produced junk in the market. I want quality, mass-produced instruments. Remember, the low whistle, the high whistle, these are relatively inexpensive, intermediate and professional grade instruments. And so buy one, support those people, support the makers, support the individual craftsmen, and find a way to encourage and support and promote those who are making quality instruments at this level. If you find somebody who's not making a quality instrument at that level, send them a note and say, please up your game. I've done that. And I think it's be polite, be kind, but we want excellent instruments on the market. And in today's world, there's no excuse for not having an excellent instrument on the market. Now, obviously, different instruments have different tonal qualities, and that's great because everybody wants something different. So, more craftsmen up here, more mass-produced here, more whistle players creating demand over here. I think that's great. I love our instrument. I want to promote it, but that means we need more makers, We need more players. Until next time, my friends, this is Scott Shade. Happy low whistling.